I'm Bhavya. I'm an instructor at Scalar Academy. In this video, I will discuss the problems of code drift on arrays. I will discuss the problems of day 2. On day 2, we had an easy problem and a hard problem, and the hard problem was actually unsolved during the contest. So you may learn something new from the video. So first, I will discuss the easy problem. It was make them equal. You are given an array A of length n. In one operation, you can select an index I and change AI to floor of AI by 2. Floor x is the largest integer, not greater than x. We want to make all the elements of the array equal. Calculate the minimum number of operations to do so. So n is less than or equal to 20 power 5. A is less than or equal to 2 into 10 power 9. The first and only argument contains an integer a of length n. So we have an array and we need to find the minimum number of operations. So let's take a look at the sample cases 3, 1, 1, 3. So we can do an operation on this 3 and this 3 to change both of these 3 to 1, and finally all the elements will be 1. So the number of operations required are 2. Now look at this case 2 to 2. So all the elements are already equal, so we don't need any operation. So our answer will be 0. So now let's look at the model solution. So we can actually reduce any number down to 1. So let's take a bigger number. So let's say we have 19. So if we divide it by 2, we get 9. Again we divide it by 2, we get 4. Again we divide it by 2, we get 2. Again we divide it by 2, we get 1. So if given an array, we need to find the maximum number which each element in the array can be reduced to. So for example, taking an example 19, 8 and 4, we can reduce 19 to 4 here in 2 operations. We can reduce 8 to 4 in 1 operation, and 4 to 4 is already 4, so we will require 0 operations. So total number of operations required are 3. So basically, we need to find the maximum number. Here the maximum number is 4 because we cannot reduce each element to 8 now because 4 cannot be changed to 8. We are decreasing the number, not incrementing the numbers. So now the problem is actually really easy. We'll find each number. So the numbers are in the range from 1 to 2 to 2 into 10 to the power 9. If we keep reducing it by 2, we get to 1 in some number of operations. And actually the number of operations will be log of 2 into 10 to the power 9 because we are dividing it by 2 every time. So the numbers will actually be around 31. So we will have 31 numbers for each index. So now we will actually insert all these numbers in, let's say, a vector and find the number whose frequency is exactly n. So we can either use a hash map or we can append all the numbers, sort them, and then find the number which maximum number which occurs n times. So for example, take this example 19, 8 and 4. So we will append 19, 9, 4, 2 and 1. For 8 we will append 8, 4, 2 and 1. So for 4 we will append 4, 2 and 1. So 4 occurs thrice, 2 occurs thrice, and 1 occurs thrice, which is equal to the length of the array. So we can reduce the element to 4, either 4, 2 or 1. But 4 is the maximum element, so we'll reduce each element to 4. And finally, for calculating the number of operations, we will keep dividing all the numbers by 2 until we reach down to 4. So the time complexity will actually be n into 31, n into log of ai, log of a. Let's try to implement it and it will be more clear. So I will use a map to do that. So for auto IA, let's say B is I. So while B, that means I will keep dividing by 2 until it is positive. So finally when I reach 1 and I divide it by 2, it will be 0. So map f of B plus plus B by equal to 2. So I will define a map of end to end which stores the frequency of the elements present. So fi will contain the frequency. So I define opt. So let's say opt is 1 because I can reduce each element to 1 in any case. And now I need to find the maximum element. So I'll iterate over the map. So for auto I f, if I dot second stores the frequency. So if I dot second equal n, so n is actually, so let's define n as well. So n is the size of the array, and n equal to a dot size. And since in map the elements are already sorted, so I can directly update my opt as I dot first. So I dot first contains the optimal value which every element in the array should be reduced to. So again, let's iterate over the array. So actually, we can copy this segment again, and I'll initialize my answer to 0. So answer equal to 0. So now while B not equal to opt. So if B is not equal to opt, then I will keep dividing by 2 and I will increment my answer because I will do an operation on this index and I will increase my answer. So I will finally return answer. So let's test it if it works. Okay, so it works on the sample cases. So let's submit it. Okay, so it works here as well. So perfect. So let's move to the hard problem now. So the hard problem was, let the sum of the array S be sum S and the maximum be max S. The cost of an array S is ceil of sum by 2 into maximum. Ceil of X is the smallest integer, not less than X. So ceil of 5 by 2 will be 3 and ceil of 4 by 2 will be 2. So you have an array A of length n. We need to find the sum of cost of all the subarrays of this array. Since the answer can be large, return it modulo 10 to the power 9 plus 7. So n is less than or equal to 5v5 and ai is less than or equal to 1e6. So let's take this example, a equal to 1 2. So it has 3 subarrays 1 2 and 1 2. So the cost for this is, the sum is actually 1. So we will multiply ceil of 1 by 2 and the maximum of the array is 2. Again, the maximum for 2, this subarray is 2 and the ceil of sum by 2 will be 2 by 2. This will be 1. So 2 into 1 is 2. Again, for the maximum element for the array 1, subarray 1 2 is 2 and the sum is 3. So ceil of 3 by 2 is 2. So 2 into 2 is 4. So the total cost is 1 plus 2 plus 4, 7. And for a single length subarray, so 5, it has only one subarray, so the cost will be 5, which is the maximum element, into ceil of sum, which is 5 by 2, and this will be 3, so 5 into 3, 15. So let's see how we will solve this. So let's take a bigger array as an example. So let's take 2 3 5 2 3. So now cost function is max of S into ceil of sum S by 2. So this is the symbol for ceil. So sum of S by 2. So brute force approach will be to keep an index I and keep iterating or incrementing our index j. So I is the left hand point of this array and we'll keep incrementing our index j and we will maintain the maximum and the sum as well and keep on adding that to our answer. So for example, let me do it for a few cases. So initially my I will be 0 and now the maximum value will be 2 and the sum will be 2. So I will add 2 into 1 to my answer, which will be 2. Then again I will increment my right pointer. So I'll increment my right pointer and it will move to the index 1 and the element is 3. So I'll update my maximum as 3 and the sum will be 5. So the cost will be 3 into ceil of sum by 2, 5 by 2, which is 3. So this will be 9. And similarly, I will keep on incrementing this pointer until I reach the end. And then I will initialize my left pointer from 3 and then keep on incrementing right pointer. But this is the brute force and the complexity is O of n square. So we need to do better than that. So now to do that, let's look at the cost function. So what are the reductions that we can do in terms of computations? So our cost function consists of two things, maximum of S into sum of S by 2. So what if we find the range in which each element will be maximum? So we know that an element will be maximum in some range. So for example, this array 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, the element 5 will be maximum in all the subarrays which starts at from 0 to 2 and ends from, like the right indexes from 2 to 3. Similarly for 2, the maximum will be this element only. So only this subarray will have the maximum 2 and similarly this 2 will be maximum in this range. So actually when in which range an element will be maximum. So consider an element I. So let's say take the general case A1, A2, A3, and so I need to find when will the element A and B maximum. So this A3, when will this element be maximum? Basically what I'll do is I'll find the first element on the right of A3 which is greater than A3. So taking this example 2, 3, 5, 2, 3. For this 3, the first element on the right of 3 which is greater than 3 is 5. So because after that the maximum will be 5. So my right pointer cannot go beyond 5. Similarly for 3, I'll find the leftmost element which is greater than 3. Here I don't have any element which is greater than 3. So I can take my left pointer as anything from 0 to 1. But again here we have some issues. What about when two elements are equal? So let's say this element was 5. Then I would have considered 5 twice. So then let's take the complete subarray. Then will I take the maximum as 5, this 5 or this 5? So to break ties, I will take the first element, the first occurrence of maximum as the maximum element. So in order to not count repetitions. So taking another example. 2, 5, 3, 4, 5, 7, 3, 8. So for 2, what is the rightmost element which is greater than 2? So this is 5. And I know that I cannot go, my right pointer cannot go beyond that for 2 to be maximum, this element to be maximum. So basically I'm storing for each index the range in which this element will be maximum. For the left pointer, I don't have anything which is greater, so I can take anything as the left pointer. So for 5, what is the maximum element which is greater than 5 and lies on the right? So this will be 8. So I can take my right pointer as anything from here to here, because my element will be maximum. Again, I have 5 here, but notice that I said that I will take the first occurrence of 5 as maximum. So this element will be maximum even if the right pointer is here. And as for the left pointer, I'll find the maximum element to the left which is greater than 5. And currently I don't have any element which is greater than 5 to the left. So my left pointer can be anything. Again for 3, what is the maximum element on the right which is greater? So this is actually 4. And the maximum element on the right which is greater, this is 5. So only for the subarray 2 to 2, the element 3 will be maximum. Now consider 4. What will be the range where 4 will be maximum? So the rightmost element which is greater is actually 5, and the leftmost element which is greater, this is this 5. So the subarray in this range will be maximum. So now taking this 5, I'll find the maximum element which is greater. But actually to find the left pointer, I will have to consider greater than or equal, because if I go beyond that, then I have said that I will take the first occurrence of 5 as maximum, and the first occurrence is this 5. So my left pointer will not go beyond this 5. So it will be till here. The left pointer can only be till here. And for this, the right pointer will be this. So it cannot go beyond that, because 7 is greater than 5. Again for 7, the left pointer will be, right pointer will be 8. And the left pointer, we don't have any left pointer because I don't have any smaller element. And for 3, the left pointer will be 7, the right pointer will be 8. For 8, the right pointer will go to out of the array, and similarly for the left pointer, because I don't have any element which is greater. So basically for each element, to find a range, so if I'm at AI, I need to find the smallest j, so min j, such that aj is greater than ai and j is greater than I. So my right pointer cannot go, so it cannot be greater than or equal to j, because if in that case the element aj will be maximum, because I know that aj is greater. Similarly for the left pointer, I will have to find maximum j such that j is less than I and aj is, now I will have aj greater than or equal to I, because even if there is a smaller element previously, let's say for taking this example 5, even if I have a smaller element 5, then I cannot go beyond this 5, because now I will take this 5 as maximum, because I am taking the first occurrence of an element, the maximum element as maximum in this range. So I have to find maximum j less than I, so that aj is greater than or equal to ai. And now I can, my left pointer can be anything greater than j. That means it cannot be less than or equal to j. It cannot be less than or equal to j. So how can I find such j and I? So actually there are two algorithms for that. You can use a stack based algorithm. So stack based algorithm finds the nearest greater element and the which lies after it, and the nearest greater element which lies before it. Actually both of these things are quite similar. Finding the nearest element after it and the finding the nearest element before it can be found similarly, because we can just iterate over the array from the last element to the first element. But I will describe a different algorithm. So let's erase it. So for each element, I will find the closest element to the left which is greater than the current element considered. So for example, consider 2. 2 does not have any left element, so let's say we have a 0 index as well. So the left element is 0, which is greater. So let's say that at 0 index we have some big element infinity. So the closest element to the left is 0. And again we can similarly say that for the right, if we need to consider the rightmost element. So at 9th index we have infinity as well. Actually we don't need it here, so let's ignore it now. So let's say we have an infinity element at 0. So for 5, again what we'll do is, let's say we are making an array L. So we will assign L of 2 as 1, because the left element can be anywhere between index 0 to I minus 1. So we'll assign L of 2 to 1, and we will keep decrementing. So there is a pointer, because so when we are at so left array actually keeps a pointer to the element which is greater than the current element. So we will see if the current element is not greater than the element which we are considering, we'll move to the pointer. We'll keep following the pointers. So let's see how this works for this example. So for 5, we initialize L of 2 to 1, but now we see that the element at index 1, which is 2, is not actually greater than 5. So we'll move to the element which is pointed by 2. So that is actually 0th index. So L of 2 will be set to 0. So 2 actually now points to 0. Because when we reach 0 index, that means that element will definitely be greater. So now consider this element 3. So we'll assign L of 3 to 2. And now we will check if 2 is actually greater, the element at index 3, which is 3, then it should actually be smaller. So we need to find then the element less than or equal to the element at this pointer, which is actually 2. So at index 2, we have element 5. So this condition is true. So we'll keep this pointer at 5. Now let's assign L of 4 is 3. But now notice that the element at index 4 is 4, and this is not less than or equal to 3. So we will now keep following the pointers. So we are at index 3, we'll move to index 2 by following the pointer. We are at index 2. At index 2, the element is 5, and this is actually greater than or equal to the element which we are considering 4. So we'll keep this pointer to 5. Now what we are doing is actually, we know that the pointer takes us to a bigger element. So if we keep following the pointers, we'll move to a bigger element, and that's what we want to do. Because let's say there is a pointer from here to here and from here to here. Then if we move, if the element was AI here, and we move to AJ here, if we again have to follow the pointers, that means AJ was actually lesser than AI. So now this AK contains the element which is greater than or equal to AJ, and all the elements in between will definitely be lesser than AJ. So if it is lesser than AJ, then this will definitely be lesser than AI. So that means that is the optimal element to check. So now taking an example of 5. So we will set L of 5 to 4 now. But notice that the element at index 4 is actually lesser. So we will follow the pointer of 4. So we'll move to 5. So now 5 is actually greater than or equal to 5. So we will set this pointer to 5 again. Now let's check the index 7, index 6. The element is 7 here, and we will set L of 6 to 5. But notice that this 5 is actually lesser than 7. So we'll follow the pointer of 5. But again, we reach to 5, and this is again lesser. So we'll follow the pointer from this index, and we will reach to index 0. So now we will set this pointer here. So let's erase it, and we'll set the pointer to 0th index. Now we are at index 7. So the element is 3, and we will set L of 7 to 6, and 7 is actually greater, so this pointer will be directly set to 6. Again for 8, we will set L of 8 to 7. We'll set, but this element at this index is 3, so we'll keep following the pointer. So we'll move to this index. Now this element 7 is actually again smaller, so we'll follow the pointer. So we'll reach to index 0, and now we'll set this pointer here. Now, why does this work in O of n? Actually, notice that we never follow one link more than once. So each link will be followed at most once. You can see again that you can try it with some other examples to see why this is so. So you will follow each link at most once, and from every element we have only one link. So the total time will be O of n. And we can actually do the similar process to find the next element as well. So now our problem reduces to, I have a mid element, I have a left element and a right element. That means my subarray will definitely contain this mid element, because this mid is the maximum element which we considered, and L2R is the range in which this element will be maximum. So my left pointer can lie, so left can lie between L and mid, and the right pointer can lie between R and mid. So now I need to find the sum of all the subarrays. So there will be mid minus L plus 1, mid minus L plus 1 into R minus mid plus 1 subarrays, which contain the element mid, and the left pointers are between L to mid, and the right pointer is between mid to R. And I need to find the sum of all the subarrays, but I have to take the seal of sum as well. Now how can we, so let's say if the problem was only finding the sum. So I just need to calculate max s into sum of s. So we'll take care of the condition ceil afterwards. So how can I find the sum of all these subarrays, mid minus l plus 1 into r minus mid plus 1 subarrays? So any subarray from R to L, let's say we maintain a prefix sum of this array. So let's say the prefix sum is actually S of I, denotes the prefix sum from 1 to I. So I need to find sigma sum of R minus sum of L minus 1, where R belongs to R to mid and L belongs to L to mid. So basically L minus 1 will belong to mid minus 1. The upper bound will be mid minus 1 and the lower bound will be L minus 1. So how many times an element in SR be? So consider any element from mid to R. Consider any index I from mid to R. I have mid minus L plus 1 choices for the left hand. So SR will be present mid minus L plus 1 times for all R from mid to R. And we can actually take this common out. So this will be mid minus L plus 1 into, so again I need to find the prefix sum of the prefix sum. So let's say this is SSR. So I will maintain a prefix sum and a prefix sum of the prefix sum as well. And this will be SS of R minus SS of mid minus 1. And now let's take the contribution of this term S of L minus 1. So again, by similar logic, S of L minus 1 will be present mid minus R plus 1 times, because for R I have mid minus R plus 1 choices. So sigma, so my L minus 1 will range from mid minus 1 to L minus 1. So S of L into R minus mid plus 1. And again taking the common out, and we can use the SS subarray. This will be R minus mid plus 1 SS of L minus 1 minus SS of mid minus 2. Because the prefix sum from L to R is prefix sum from R minus prefix sum from till L minus 1. So this sum, I will take this sum and subtract this sum. So the difference of this will give me the total sum. But now notice that I had to find ceil. So how can I find ceil? Let's say the set of sums was 3, 3, 3. I cannot just add them and divide by 2. So if I individually divide by 2 and take the ceil, my total sum will be 2 plus 2 plus 2, which will be 6. And if I add all the numbers 9 and then take a ceil, it will be 5. So what I'll do is actually, notice that ceil is the same. If the sum is even, then dividing by 2 does not cause any error. So if it was 4, 4 by 2 is 2, and I can just, even if I divide it by 2 in the sum, it will give me 2 as well. But for the odd arrays, this gives me an issue. So what will I do is, I will actually add the number of odd subarrays to it and then finally divide it by 2. So again, if we add 3, 3, 3, my sum is 9 and the number of odd subarrays are 3. So I will add 3 here and then I will add the sums and then divide by 2. So 12 by 2, 6, which is the result which we want to do. So I'll find the sum of all the subarrays whose left hand is between L to mid and whose right hand is between mid to R. Again, I will add all the subarrays with odd sum to this and then divide by 2. So let's implement it and this will be more clear. So let's write n as the size of the array. So I will make a new array under prefix sums. So int n a of 5v5, and then we will have prefix sums. So S0 is the prefix sum of the array, S1 is the prefix sum of the prefix sum, and S2 actually stores the number of odd numbers from L to R, the number of odd prefix sums actually. So let's loop from 1 to n, I less than equal to n I plus plus. AI will be AI minus 1. S0I will be S0 I minus 1 plus AI, and we have to do it modulo mod. So S1I will be S0 I plus S1 I minus 1. So this actually stores the prefix sum of the prefix sums. And S2I stores the number of odd prefix sums. So this will be S2I plus, S2I minus 1 plus S0I and 1. Modulo, we don't have to take mod here because this sum will be less than or equal to n. Right? Now let's find the left element. The left element which is greater than this element. And similarly, we will find the right element. So we'll use the same technique described previously. So from I1 to n I plus plus. So initially we will assign left of I as I minus 1. And now we will check if L of I is positive and the element in left is lesser. So we need to find the previous element which is greater than or equal to. So if this condition is false, then we found the element. And we will keep following the pointer. So L of I will be L of I. Similarly, we will find the right pointer. So let's copy this. And for right pointer, we'll move from n to 1. So I greater than equal to 1, I minus minus. Right of I will be I plus 1. And the condition will be while right of I less than equal to n. And A of Ri is actually less than or equal to. Because we want the right element to be strictly greater. And if this is not the case, we will update R of I as R of I. We will keep following the pointer until we get a greater element. And now we found the range in which this given element will be maximum. So let's initialize our answer as 0. And for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to n, we know the range in which the AI will be maximum. So we will add answer plus AI into 1LL into F. So Li plus 1, I, which is the middle element, and Ri minus 1. So basically this denotes that AI is the maximum element, and then we will find the sum of subarrays, obviously taking the seal, which contain AI as maximum. And we know that they should have the left point greater than equal to Li plus 1 and the right point less than equal to Ri minus 1, and the middle index should be I. Like it should contain I. And we will return answer. Also, we need to take mod here as well. We took Li plus 1 here because we know that Li is the previous element which is greater than or equal to. So all the elements after that will be lesser. And similarly for Ri minus 1. So now let's form the F function. So int F, L, int mid, int R. So we know that our answer will be mid minus L plus 1 into SSR minus SS mid minus 1 minus R minus mid plus 1 into SS L minus 1 minus SS mid minus 2. So let's call this sum 1 and let's call this sum 2. So I'll first calculate sum 1 and sum 2. So sum 1 will be mid minus L plus 1 into, let's multiply it by 1L to avoid overflow issues. And then we need to subtract SSR, multiply SSR minus SS mid minus 1. So SS is S1 actually. So S1 mid minus 1 plus mod, modulo mod, and then taking the whole mod. Similarly, let's find sum 2. So sum 2 is R minus mid plus 1 into S1 L minus 1 minus S1 mid minus 2, mid greater than equal to 2. So let's have a ternary operator here. If mid is greater than equal to 2, then we can write S1 of mid minus 2, otherwise this will be 0. And let's then add mod, modulo mod. So we are just using mods to avoid any overflows. Modulo mod. Now the sum will be sum 1 minus sum 2 as per our formula. So this will be sum 1 minus sum 2 plus mod, modulo mod. Now let's say C1 is the count of odd numbers. Now we found the sum, and now we need to add the number of subarrays which are odd, and then we will divide by 2. So to find the number of subarrays which are odd, we know that the sum is S of L minus S of, we know that the sum is S of R minus S of L minus 1. And to find this sum that are odd, we can either have SR odd or SF L minus 1 odd. Alright, so we'll first find the ways in which SR is odd and then multiply the ways in which S of L minus 1 is even, and similarly we will add the cases where SR is even and SL minus 1 is odd. So the range of R is from mid to R, and the range of L minus 1 is from L minus 1 to mid minus 1. So C1 will be, so we have stored the odd number prefix sums in S2 array. So C1 is the count of odd numbers from L minus 1 to mid minus 1, and that will be mid minus 1 minus H2 of L minus 2. And that will be the case when L is greater than equal to 2. So if L is greater than equal to 2, then this, otherwise 0. Similarly, let's find C2. So int C2 equal to S. It is the count of odd numbers from mid to R. So that will be S2R minus S2 mid minus 1. Now the total odd prefix sums. Now the total odd summaries will be C1 into R minus mid plus 1, or the total number of summaries minus C2. And let's multiply it by 1L. So basically C1 is the count of odd numbers from L minus 1 to mid minus 1, and C2 is the count of odd numbers from mid to R. And to find the count of even numbers from mid to R, we will just subtract R minus mid plus 1 minus the odd numbers. So that will give us even numbers. And similarly, we will do it for C1 as well. So C2 into 1LL into, let's find the count of odd numbers from L minus 1 to mid minus 1, and that will be mid minus L plus 1 minus C1. And let's calculate it modulo mod. Now we will add this odd sum to our total sum, and finally we will divide it by 2. So we will actually multiply it by inverse of 2, and inverse of 2 is mod plus 1 by 2. Modulo mod, and let's multiply 1LL here. Okay, so we have an extra p here. Also, we haven't defined mod yet. It's const int mod. So I'm using const because actually const, if we define a variable as const, the modulo division operations are actually fast. So since this mod is const, this will be fast. Although that's not needed, but it's good for general code. So let's test it if this works. Okay, we have a runtime error. So let's check. Okay, we missed a 1LL here. So let's multiply by 1LL here. Also, this sum is from actually L minus 1 to mid minus 1. So here we will have mid minus 1, and here we will have L minus 2. Okay, we haven't returned sum, sorry. So we should return sum as well. So this works, and let's try to submit it. It works. Okay, so it works now. So you can see that this problem was a little bit on a harder side, and it involved a lot of observations. So in the next question, in the next contest, we will also have a in the next contest we will also have a hard problem which may be educational for some of you. So please participate in the next round, and for more such amazing videos, subscribe to our channel.